Alrighty. Hello and welcome to another episode of Canadian Talk. This is episode 42 of a podcast where you talk with a Canadian without the opportunity to talk back. That is how a podcast works. So we have a balmy day here. It's like +7 out. Everything's melting. The shop's drainage is working well, but it does have some minor failures, I will admit. But that's just me being lazy and not getting ahead of them anyway, when I should have got ahead of them. But welcome to episode 42. The producer isn't here today because guess what? Classes are back to in-person because mandates are being canceled. The world is going back to normal, so this is a celebration day, really. I can't believe it. So like today is Thursday, so I'm 1 day late on the release of this episode. I'm recording it 1 day late. I'm gonna try to release it today so that I manage to get 1 day late. Yeah, it's a good thing. The world is getting back to normal. And really, it is good. And Saskatchewan's leading that charge. Alberta, I mean, they just skipped ahead of us. I think, or maybe we followed them. I guess I don't actually know the exact order of events here, but I'm glad to see what's going on. Everything's coming back to normal. So yeah, no classes at universities, including the U of S, University of Saskatchewan here, at the home of this podcast. They're back to in-person classes, baby. That's what I like to see. That's That's my tax money. It's not all tax money that at a university, but a lot of it, some of it is. It's a public institution. I got a new harmonica, so I'm temporarily missing one of my other harmonicas, my first one that my parents got me. I have it. I just can't find it at the current moment. But I got a new one, and this time I decided to go top of the line. And I could not believe the difference in the quality of sound that this thing produces. Just way better, way better than the other one that I had. All right. Anyway, got us a little riff for you for episode 42. But really, it takes way less breath to produce the same amount of sound. This is an E chord harmonica, by the way. My other one was a D, and I bought two new ones. I bought a Hohner. That's the one that I really like. Hohner. I think it's up there with top of the line. I don't know about what top of the line is. I'm not going to claim to know it yet. I've only been doing the harmonica for about a few months now. But that was the best one at the place that I went. So I imagine whatever the big brand is in music will. What is the big brand in music again? Not Suzuki. I think Suzuki's in there, but like Gibson. I wonder if Gibson makes a harmonica. Yeah, we got a nice roaring little fire here, but not that we even need it today. Today it's +7, and last week, a couple days ago, it was -50. So that is literally a 60-degree difference. That's what happens here in the prairies. I want to move forward because I know my face is washed out a bit by this window, but my microphone doesn't really reach that far. There, all right. That's a little better, I guess. And I lost my train of thought. I know I was talking about something to do with music, but it's gone. So what else is going on in the world? Yeah, Corona's coming to an end in this province. So I went on a bachelor party this last weekend, and it was all right. There was guys there, 8 of them, 8 or 7 of us, something like that. Who even knows? I don't know. I can't remember. There was too much drinking going on. Bachelor parties are a strange thing that still exists in our society for men. It's like, um, it really is. Men kind of go back to being primal, like they really do when they go on their bachelor party. It's just like go out there and let her rip, which it is very fun. I'm not gonna lie, like we had a good time. So ours was a ski trip. We did a ski trip in Sunshine Village, in BC, British, or I think is it in Alberta? Sunshine Village. I think Sunshine Village is actually Alberta. And yeah, it was a pretty good trip. I mean, like there was some, like that's what I mean. So on the trip, it starts out with a lot of good times, right? And then naturally, somebody isn't having a good time, and that person's got to be. They exist. They always exist, and so so one of the people on our trip had a little aggression attack. Let's just call him autism. Like, that's what we'll call him as a name. We'll call him Audie, because he thinks he has autism. One of the guys on the trip got a little aggressive. And that's always a tricky situation to handle, because especially, it depends on the situation, but if you're out there for a wedding thing, that means that, and if you're not the person who's getting married, that means it's not about you. So every time you take attention away from the main person, you should be feeling guilty. So when you have somebody have an episode in that type of a circumstance, what do? It's like, yeah, it's a tough spot. Tough. Today we have some Pabst Blue Ribbon. It was on for the best deal at the local Sobeys liquor store. This is an American beer, Milwaukee, I think. But at least that's where it was established. I don't know where it gets brewed now. So Guelph, Ontario. So that's Canada for you. So anyway, that's the beer we're drinking today. So we did skiing at Sunshine Village, and it was a row. Like it was a good time. The skiing portion, other than the fact that Sunshine Village sucks as a hill. Anyone who's Canadian out there who would watch this would probably want me to comment on the fact that, like, we went to Sunshine. I don't actually know why, for cost purposes, so we could spend one of the nights in Calgary and walk around the streets and go to a few restaurants in Calgary, I guess. That's why we picked Sunshine, but so it wasn't really about the extreme skiing, I guess, because we had a one beginner with us, or maybe and then a couple of half beginners. So on the night where we were walking around Calgary, we went to a few steakhouses, like this brisket place that was pretty sweet. Basically just like a meat place, and they it was really good. I'm just already kind of leaning up to the point of the story though, which is we were walking back after we went to the brisket place, and we went to this bowling alley that was kind of cool, more like a bar or like a freaking club, really, but they called it a bowling alley. It might be for tax purposes, who knows? Or the building has it. I mean, and then maybe there's just also that it helps with taxes too. It just to kill two birds with one stone. This guy, he must have been on coke. So this truck, we're just walking back to the hotel. We're already pissed because we missed an Uber because somebody called the wrong size, and then they weren't willing to pay the extra couple bucks, and so we're walking a few blocks because it was only a 7-block Uber, so it was an unnecessary Uber anyway. So they were pissed to have to pay $8 to, and whatever, and it's understandable. So we're walking, and this truck with, I think it was 2 guys, but there was blacked out windows, so there might have been more in the back, right? So you don't want to mess around. there's a Corona box blowing across the road, and this is dead. It's like maybe 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m., and this 24 pack box of Corona is just kind of blowing slowly across the road as we're crossing over here. And this guy rolls down his window, starts screaming at us, pick it up, pick it up. And we're like, it isn't ours. It isn't ours. There was 3 of us. I think there was 4 of us because the group had gotten split up because the other people had left earlier. And we also hit the casino while we were in Calgary, which was pretty sweet. And so he starts screaming at us, fucking goofs. He says, like, he calls us that name. Excuse my language. This is what I just have to paint a picture of what this guy looked like. He was a pretty, like, kind of a pretty beefy looking white guy, so you don't want to mess with him too much, and he might be on some sort of drugs. But there was 3 or 4 of us, but there could be 3 or 4 of them, 5 of them in that vehicle, and they might have weapons. So we were just like, it's not ours. It's not ours. We keep walking. He keeps screaming at us, and then eventually he stops screaming, and they drive away. So that's good. Enough of that. Hey, like, not gonna go getting into a fight on the street over a box blowing in the wind from somebody, like, from somewhere randomly. I'm not gonna get into a fight over that if some guy wants to start screaming in the street. God. But overall, the streets of Calgary were fun. The places in Calgary was nice. We almost got into 2 separate fights. And there was the other one, yeah, so the other fight was, we were just walking down the street, and this guy was standing by his weird, like, old Toyota something or other, Supra or something. And it was kind of like, you got any lights? Like, I think obviously by my impression, he was, now you know he was some sort of South American. Just a second, my fire is falling out. All right, there we go. Oh, now she's putting off heat skis. All right. Yeah, and then he was just like, he was just being a tough guy at his car, and then we were worried, though. We thought he was going to run us down with his car because he kept circling and coming by us and stuff. But it was just one small fellow. Oh, this fire is real nice, man. The thing is, I saw the Tom Segura's podcast, Your Mom's House, one of his couple of podcasts. They added a fireplace to, I think they used to potentially have one, though, but they added a fireplace to their new studio. The Two Bears One Cave podcast is also into their new studio in Texas as well. It looks pretty nice. Reminds me of like a Halo, the video game, of several of the maps from that video game. All right, so I'm getting a little dry. So what else is going on? So a couple fights on the bachelor party, and then the one that happened between the group. So let's get back to talking about the group, right? And these aren't all in succession. I'm jumping around. The trip was a total of 4 days or whatever. So when you have a bunch of friends and everything is jiving really well, and then you have somebody overstep, a male overstep on another male. If that male isn't involved, like if he's not the groom, you really got to suck up your pride. Because again, like I said, it's just obviously not about you, but it's like, as long as it's not something that left damage, like did you injure me in a way that's going to leave damage for a period of time? And if not, if you're not afraid of your masculinity, you don't have to prove anything. And no damage was done. Just ethics. Somebody broke ethics. Like let's say if it was I'm going to be hypothetical here just to protect people. But like let's say you ask a person, "Hey, you want to have a wrestle?" And then they're like, "Yeah, I've wrestled before." And then you say, "Okay, let's see how strong your wrestler's clinch is." And anybody who knows what a wrestler's clinch is, and anybody who wrestles knows that you can't do takedowns by grabbing heads. There's no headlock grabs allowed. And let's say a person does this and then holds on to the headlock for a period of time and gloats about it. That would be very unethical. So so that's the situation of what went down, happened to somebody on the trip. And it was never really resolved. The person chose to handle it passively, and ultimately that's how it is, Decisions get made into the future, and then you progress from there. So anyway, that might have been a boring little wrestling story. So what else was going on? So we went to the casino, and I swiftly lost $100. We just sat down at the blackjack table. The main guy and then his one of the top guys with us there. They sat down at the table with a big 400 bones, and then one of the best man sat down there with 100, and he ended up running it up to 175 or so. I don't play blackjack. I know how to play it. I actually can count cards, but I don't like to play it because it's just a 50-50 game, and it's not that fun to me because I don't like gambling. I just like poker, and to me that's not gambling. So I like to, when I play blackjack, I like to kind of read the deck a little bit, count kind of a little bit. But when they're rolling 6 decks, you can't really keep a consistent safe count anyway. You can always have a shoot that's different than another. You got to limit your variance, you'd have to play at least 20 hands instead of just playing the 1 or 2 like I do when I do my big bets in blackjack. So I'm not playing any type of a system here that will win me any money. So yeah, I decide to throw a $5 bet out there, I lose. I throw my $95 bet out there because I'm sitting down with $100. Throw my $95 bet out there, I lose. And that's that. I didn't bust. I think I stayed on a 15 or a 16 and they turned over an 18. Blackjack. And then the crew, half the pussies of the crew left. And then we went over to the roulette tables and we were rocking that for a good while. Okay, here's another thing that happened that I wanted to just mention. Cuz I couldn't stop myself. I saw a pretty nice jacket. So I'm walking around the casino. The casino's pretty dead. Because I don't know, I think it was a Thursday night. So that would be maybe why. And Calgary has like 7 casinos, so it's whatever. Casino's pretty dead. I see a nice jacket on this chair. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then I walk around. We have more of the night. I leave it for about an hour. I go and I walk by there again. I see that same jacket there still. At that moment in time, I had a decision to make. Should I like go and bring this to the Lost and Found, and then while I'm bringing it over there, check a pocket maybe, like, oh, is there any cash in this jacket? Somebody forgot their jacket, and I was at a dilemma because it was a ratty enough jacket that you knew the person was a bit of a goofball, but it was also kind of like a decent looking jacket. So I really wanted to just be like, because like I've dropped money on the ground before and been like, shit. So whenever you find money, you want to get something for it. Like I wanted to bring it to the Lost and Found, but I knew that if I just left it, somebody else would bring it to the Lost and Found. So I went and I sat beside it, and I just I flicked the pockets. And I'm in a casino, so I'm definitely on camera. Oh my God. But I was curious to see if somebody left a jacket with a wallet in it. There was nothing in it. Then I brought it to the Lost and Found, and then that was that. But I was curious, like before I was going to move the jacket, I was curious what was in it, and then I would have dealt with the ethics of that afterwards. But I definitely approached the situation slowly first, just because it really did it. The jacket looked ratty. Like this dude is like a dude who he's probably on drugs right now. Who knows? He's probably not a great guy. His kid is probably suffering because he's a prick. That's what I'm thinking. He probably needs this money in this jacket, but I mean, maybe I need it more. But who knows? I guess if there was money in the jacket, and then if I was and I took it, then it would be on camera, and then maybe that could get me in trouble, maybe, or because technically you're being a good guy, but you're only being a half good guy if you bring a jacket to a Lost and Found but take $40 out of the pocket. Oh my God. Yeah, that's two of my vices in my life have always been thievery and lying. And I really struggle to not do that. When I have the opportunity to potentially lie, cheat or steal, it's it's against my nature. Like my body tells me to lie, cheat and steal. I don't know any other way around it. It's I resist it. I'm not lying, cheat. I'm not like a fucking hyena here. I'm a human being, but it's just the urges are there. I can see that they're there, and if you say they're not there, you're just in denial, in my opinion. But yeah, sorry about the washed out picture of my face, guys. You can probably just barely see my lips move. Like, not that many people watch the video versions of these anyway. We're still hanging around that 800 mark on the audio, and like 100 mark, if not a little less, down to 50 views, like per week on the podcast. The thing is though is that right, like, even a Joe Rogan podcast, when he started, let's talk numbers for just a split second. When he started doing this kind of shit, his first ones, like episode 1, right, that kind of stuff can be found on Spotify. It was years before they weren't even put on YouTube immediately, but when they were, it took a long time for them to get lots of views. I know he didn't used to do it on YouTube. He started on this Ustream thing. And he started to get a few hundreds and a few thousands of views over time, but it really started low. By the way, and I started watching his podcast when it started, so I was monitoring this shit, and I know how slow his started. And to be honest with you, I consider, like, there's lots of podcasts out there, but I consider what I'm doing to be not an imitation, but a very close derivative of what he does. And in a way, I'm keeping the spirit of it in a wholehearted, passionate way, really. Like, as a fan, as somebody who wants to continue that style of voice for media, really is what I'm getting at. So, yeah, I don't think he would have any problem with what I'm up to. Let me find my train of thought again here. Something interesting. What are we at? Oh, we're only 21. We're 21 minutes in, so we're doing pretty all right. Let's get a little bit of beer into our systems here and then see what comes out. We were talking bachelor parties. We were talking Brandon Price, or not Brandon Price. We were talking Price, the producer, there not being here for the show today to give us the laugh track in our Google searches, just because he's got to be in class. I don't like to do these podcasts in the evenings. I can only do them early in the morning because I like to do them when I'm at my best, which is early in the morning. So, there's something like that. Like, I could do them whenever. I could. But I like to do them first thing in the morning. Sometimes it makes my trains of thought a little shorter, but it makes them quicker. And, like, that's what I'm going for right now. I like the morning, and that's the way she go. That's the way she go. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder like if what a critique would be of this lighting right now, because I understand it's a bit washed out, but it's also kind of a nice ambiance. Depending, because like right now, it's the video is looking pretty good because I can watch it because I don't have a cameraman, right? So I have it set up so I can watch my feed as I do it. So it's like I'm watching myself. I got a haircut, which is kind of good. Oh shit! Here we go. Woo! The whole fire just fell out. It's like, holy shit, that's a nice haircut. Let me come and see it. Guess I don't need this hat anymore. Because it is warmer than fuck in here. Thanks to my nice fire. Oh, holy shicer. Let's close this for a little bit. Let's cool it down a little bit. Oh, I gotta put this wood all in here so it doesn't get too smoky. Sorry, folks. So yeah, I don't think, oh, now that I thought about it, now maybe I will do it. No, I'm not going to do it. It wrecks the vibe of it. Guys, the last couple episodes, I guess not last episode because Price was here. I've been going live on TikTok just to kind of spread the, get followers and continue to grow my little thing. But today I'm not feeling it because ultimately it really lowers the quality of my conversation when I do that. When I go on the TikTok live and then I can see people coming in and out and they're asking questions, it screws with my train of thought. It really does. So I'm going to skip the TikTok live for today, but I don't know if I'm going to skip a dip. I think I still might have myself a little dipperooski. But they got the standard 2 beers for the episode. And now on each episode, I've got this is the commemorative Canadian Talk with Stephan podcast stool. I'm each time I do a podcast, I brand it and I sign it and I write the episode number on there. And then maybe I don't know. Maybe one day that'll be something that can be used. Who knows? Or maybe I'll turn into a drug addict and end up in the streets and die a lonely death before I hit the age of 40. There's this guy I've been studying lately that I really liked a lot. I'm going to play his music, actually, because I want to see how it feels. And because I don't think there's any copyrights on any of this shit. This guy died. This guy, what I was just joking about, dying alone in the streets from alcohol or drugs. This guy had that happen to him, and he's incredibly talented. So I'm gonna play his song for you here, just the audio, just so there's no troubles with any copyrights or anything. Here's a song for you that's really, every time I listen to it, I feel like it moves me to tears. I might pick up my harmonica while no, because I'm gonna have to hold it up here, or maybe I can. Yeah, so I'll put it down. I'll put it down here so that it's by the mic, and then maybe I can play my harmonica with it a little bit. So this is Cold Beer by Jesse Stewart, and he's from Alberta, I think, and he died in the streets of like alcohol and drug overdose, really. Well, you're gonna have to listen to some stupid advertisements because it's YouTube. Here we go. So you won't be able to see this. He's playing the guitar like a little ukulele. Getting burned by ashes here. Fuck! God damn it! Fucking ashes are getting me. There it is. There it is. So, when they're playing that, they're just sitting around a fire pit there in the video. For some reason that song always has such an impact on me. Not just a big part of it is because he's obviously died of suicide now, but it's just because the song is clearly a cry for help, you know. And nobody listened at all. Yeah. I feel like that's what gets me. Not to mention because of how good the song is, you know. It's such a good song. But yeah, the way he talks about the beer like it's his only friend that understands him. It's so sad. So anyway, that's that. That's Jesse Stewart with Cold Beer. So yeah, thanks to anyone who's tuning in. We're kind of at the halfway mark of the podcast typical time period, 30 minutes in, 35 minutes in. We may go long today, do the full hour. We may not. We'll see how we feel. But thanks for tuning in, anybody who, and to be honest with you, anybody who clicks around, if you're here right now, thank you. If you haven't watched the whole episode to get to here, if you clicked up to here, thank you very much. I'm happy to be in your head, audio wise, or to be in your room on your little screen, whatever you're watching this on, laptop, phone, little television. You're just living your life just like I am. And I hope you all are doing well out there in your lives. If you're not, though, just remember to never give up, you know. Because that's what Jesse Stewart did. All you got to do is just keep going. There's always things in life that you can't see coming. Oh, my phone just warned me of something. Oh, I didn't get there quick enough to see what the warning was. We're still recording, though, but I'm not sure. So the recording might stop at any given moment here, and it might just be the abrupt end of the podcast. So there's some dramatic tension build up for you, that at any moment the podcast might just abruptly end without my knowledge. So yeah, if you're... Let me think of something really obscure here to talk about for a second. Other than bachelor parties, because that's good happy shit. I'm happy to have a friend of mine be married. Marriage can be a good thing. Not always, but it can be. Ugh, the flooding in my... I gotta go do some shoveling after this. The flooding in my shop is getting a little worse. Just because I haven't done any shoveling all winter. And then all of a sudden... Well, when you have a blizzard, minus 50, a blizzard, and then it goes all of a sudden to plus 10, you're gonna have so much melt that even the best of setups is gonna have a little drippage. And you know what? Like, yeah, I got a little drippage here coming. Like, cause the snow... Fuck! Building structures is frustrating, you know. Well, you know what? Actually, building structures isn't frustrating. You build them. That just happens. And that can be a little stressful, but it's not frustrating. Maintaining a structure after it's built, it can be frustrating because there's always some little issues and stuff like that. That got to be dealt with. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, I think I'm ready ready to call it. That last thing kind of bummed me out a little bit. I'm pretty bummed out. Don't know if I can make any jokes. Maybe I should. I'm gonna go to the list for a second and see what I got on here, and then maybe we'll call it a day. Especially because my phone just gave me a warning. It might be a battery warning. I think my phone might be running out of battery. My camera that I use might be running out of battery. Let's see what I got on the list here, guys. And I don't think there's too much. I've got some stuff, but I haven't organized it well yet, so. The cool thing I like to see out there is that I know that I've seen some followers of the podcast that I know that are watching that own things. I've seen that a lot of people have been imitating my cost-effective style of building studios. And that's what I like to see. I really like to see that. God, I just wore horrible shoes that are wicking up. There's a little bit of moisture on the floor right now, and my shoes are just wicking it up, and it's so fucking annoying. My feet are getting wet. That's the main reason I don't like want to stay and do a longer pod. This fucking I may change to a new studio in my other structure that I built, if like that may be the case. My other structure is a little bit better than this one. So that may be something in the near future. So anyway, we're going to the list. Let's see what we got on here for some things that I've written over the last little while. I'll throw it out there into the world and into my little video journal here that I call Canadian Talk. So by the way, to remind you, you're watching Canadian Talk with Stephan podcast. And this is just a podcast where we talk shop about life, really. And but we do it from a perspective of non-certainty, because that is really what creates the problems for people, is because you can try to do your best, and you got to think about things and think them through, so that is what helps you do your best in the moment, at any given instantaneous moment. But you also have to be able to adjust. So like that's why certainty is a problem. You don't want to have a certainty that you keep coming back to and you govern all your decisions with. You've got to be able to flow if you want to achieve those higher achievements, you know? You got to be dynamic in your decision making a little bit. I feel that as I described it there before, that's a little bit of a static way of thinking. So anyway, let's get back to my list here. We're going to start with podcast content, then we're going to go to dialogue and intrigue humor. That's my two main lists that I put my ideas that I come up with in. Oh, the first one is I saw this in the news. I was going to talk a little bit about Joe Rogan and the N-word controversy. I can't believe that. You know what, though? I think I'm going to leave that for the next episode. So anybody, if you're in the future, if you're 4 years from now, if this podcast got big and you're a fan, I'm going to talk about the Joe Rogan N-word controversy in the next episode. It'll be pretty obsolete, because you'll know more than me, I guess, if you're in the future. That is the problem with podcasts, is so many people make them now. You really got to make them weekly, because people expect you to be current. People do like to watch old ones if they're a big fan of you, but mostly podcast watchers will work their way backwards. I got lucky enough with Rogan that I started so early with him that I got to watch them in succession. But when I first started watching, he was on episode like 150, so I had to go backwards first. And you can imagine 150, because his podcasts are 3 hours long. So 150 times 300, that's 450 hours I had to work my way back and then catch up and work my way forward. But I've been doing that. I've been watching his podcast over the course of the past, 12 years or however long. I think he's only been doing it for 12 years. So I think maybe I've been watching it for probably 11 or 10 then. But yeah. So so I'll talk about the Joe Rogan N-word thing on next episode, because I want to be properly energetic. I want to fix this flooding issue. I saw this thing that they've got that they're going to come out with flying houses, basically like the Avengers movie, like how they have that floating ship. That is actually going to be a thing. I can't even fucking believe that. But the technology exists now. And billionaires like Bezos, they call it an air yacht. That was what they were calling it, was an air yacht. And, that's pretty sweet, not gonna lie. But it's a little bit excessive, but it's exactly like the Avengers, really. Oh, I'm actually getting a little more comfortable here. Maybe I will do a full episode. This fire is nice. Just got to keep my it's because my feet are cold because they're wet. Oh, one day I'm going to look back on this and it's going to be so funny. That's why I like to just do my best even if there's a struggle going on, cuz I really do think that that's where the comedy lies, you know? So, okay, yeah, the flying houses, they're coming out. Bachelor party, the incident. Oh, and the Olympics. How they've been having delays because of COVID. That pisses me off so much, like hockey and shit. I think some of it got straight up canceled. I cannot frickin' believe that. That makes me so darn angry. Oh my god, my feet are wet. Jesus, how did that even happen? I should have wore the proper shoes. I just thought that I would be optimistic and wear my nice comfy Sanuk shoes. That was a bad decision. Oh, the phone is giving me a countdown now. Wait, no, it's not. No, it's not. We got time. Everything's a go. Everything's working. So, yeah. What else here? The Olympic delays. I am pretty upset about that, especially because Corona's coming to an end and shit. Like, to ruin the Olympics like that. And also, this year's World Juniors got delayed. I talked about this on other episodes, but I'll just revisit that. That pisses the fuck off. I'm so pissed about that. Like, those kids work their entire... Like, okay... Because I almost made the World Juniors, okay? I'm being a little boastful, but let me just say this because I want to get that across because I understand their emotions. Because, like, that's just so not fair. These kids... And I didn't even make it all the way, so I wasn't good enough. There's kids that are so good that they're way good enough that they could fucking win it for us. They're way better than I was. And we're not going to give them that opportunity? That's not cool to take that from those kids. They worked their entire lives for that, and to get to that immensely high skill level to make that team and then to take that tournament away, they say that they're going to postpone it. But still, when it's not around Christmas, the viewership won't be the same. You're taking that exposure away from those kids. You're potentially ruining their careers. Not to mention that they've been having to commit to hockey over this past couple years, and they still got to be that good during the coronavirus BS. They still... Who knows how they even found a way to practice? How did they even find a way to practice? What? Like, I didn't even think of that. Like, the last couple years, they stayed committed to hockey, and even how did they even do that? And then you delay the tournament. Or cancel it, really, but, like, you're screwing them. So anyway, that's how I feel about the Olympic delays and the World Junior delays. It just pisses me off. Uh-oh. I thought of something. Well, this is... So, I was talking about how masks are coming to an end there earlier. But guess why? What's crazy is, and any Americans, anybody else who's watching this out there, guess who you would never have guessed who ended up being the savior for Canada? It ended up, the people who had the balls to be the ones to stand up and save us ended up being the ones that our society has been putting down and saying that their jobs are going to become obsolete soon. The truckers. These people that, like, they get paid well, right? Like, so no, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, like, they're the ones who ended up coming through and really putting an end to this COVID stuff and saying, enough. Freedom. We care about freedom as a group here, and you guys are starting to overstep. And they're the ones. So this freedom convoy that we're having in Canada right now, that's basically what I'm talking about right now. I'm not saying... some people have been trying to equate it to Trump and stuff to try to stop the movement and all that kind of crap. It doesn't have anything to do with that here in Canada, for sure. And I'm not saying that I'm like a hardcore anything. Like, I like Trump, but I'm not saying I'm a hardcore anything. I'm just happy to see the freedom coming back to normal. I'm just warming up my feet here, people. If you're wondering what the hell I'm doing, if you're watching the video right now, I would say if you're not watching the video right now, switch to it, because I got my feet up in front of the fire and I look pretty goofy. So yeah, so we got the Freedom Convoy going on in Canada, and it is becoming quite a great success. It has been a great success. It's allowed some of the leaders of some of our more conservative provinces like Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba to say enough is enough and end all... Like, so right now we're ending all vaccine mandates. That's happening. and I'm sure that mask mandates won't be far behind. There's a bunch of places already that have had enough with it. Like I've been in businesses that are just being like, do what you want, do what you want. So, okay, let's keep going down the list here. So that's the Freedom Convoy. The truckers ended up being our saviors. Can't even believe that. Oh, and that's it for the podcast content list. So let's go to the dialogue and intrigue humor list. See if I've thought of any good jokes lately. This was an interesting little situation I was in the other day. So because it's so warm out, our roads have been getting pretty mucky. And the other day I was driving on these mucky roads, and it's kind of funny. It's like a telepathic communication that all the drivers have in Canada. That like they stagger themselves to try to conserve windshield wiper fluid so that people aren't getting splashing mud onto each other. It's kind of like a telepathic niceness that happens in Canada that I like a lot. So anyway, thanks to the Canadians for doing that around here because I notice it and I like it while I'm driving. Everybody's conserving their wiper fluid. So anyway, you guys, I think I'm going to end it for today. It's been a good warm day, and I'll definitely be back next week on time. Thanks to everybody out there who's listening to Canadian Talk with Stephan. If you can, please subscribe to our YouTube page. We need more subscribers. Like definitely, we have like 24, and I lost a couple. I think we're down to 22. So anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. This is episode 42 of Canadian Talk with Stephan out.
Thanks for listening, and any questions or concerns for the show, as well as voice recordings and voice messages that you'd like us to listen to, or advertisement inquiries, please forward those along to canadiantalkwithstephan@gmail.com. Thanks.
Canadian Talk.
We also have a website, stephanjackson.ca, where you can find a back catalog of all our episodes, and we're also on YouTube, where you can find the video versions.
Canadian Talk.